Hey everybody, Don with Brazier Toneworks, and thanks for watching. Today's video is a little bit more of an authentic one versus the more traditional mod ones that I do. It has to do with taking your Telecaster back to 1953 and the wiring scheme that Leo Fender used at that time. What you're going to find is this scheme, which is known as the Blackguard scheme, basically takes your middle and neck positions on the three-way switch and vastly changes what they do compared to a modern Telecaster. So let's get started. All right, looking at the drawing here, you see all of the components we're going to use. All of these are stock on a standard Telecaster. You've got your three-way switch, two 250K pots, your pickups. You'll notice I've got two capacitors, and that's the difference with this scheme. We need 2.05 capacitors. You can, I guess, use other ones in terms of its value, but 0.05 is what Leo used, so that's what we're going to use in this diagram. All right, as always, we start out with the labeling conventions, make sure everybody's on the same page. On our switch, on the left side, we've got lugs A1, 2, 3, 4. On the right side, we have lugs B1, 2, 3, 4. And on the pots, I move left to right, so L1, L2, and L3. L2 is always in the middle. And remember, when the pots are inverted, the numbers are backwards, so keep that in mind. All right, first thing we always do is ground. So we ground the two pots together and then take that to our bridge ground wire. For our output jack, we're going to go from lug L2 of our volume pot to the tip portion of the jack, as well as grounding from our central ground point, which is the top of our volume pot, to the ring portion of the jack. Okay, for our pickup wiring, it's pretty simple. We're going to obviously take the ground and go to the top of our volume pot, which is our grounding point. For our neck pickup, which is shown here in red, we're going to go to lug B3 of the three-way switch. And for the bridge, which is shown in blue, we're going to lug B2 of the three-way switch. Okay, to wire up the pots, we're going to be going from lug L3 of the tone to lug L1 of the volume. And remember, the two pots are inverted, that's why the numbers are off. Then from the volume pot, we're going to be going from L1 to B1 of the three-way switch, shown here in green. The next thing we need to do is add a couple jumpers on our three-way switch. We're going to be going from A3 to B3, and we're going to be going from A4 to B4. Okay, the last piece is wiring up the capacitors. Remember, I'm using the 0.05 because I wanted to be true to the actual scheme that Leo had created back in 1953. You can use other values if you want to try those out. What I'm showing is the actual scheme here, so I'm taking from the tone pot lug L2 for one end of the capacitor, and I'm grounding that to the volume pot. Conversely, I'm going from B4 on the three-way switch and grounding the other portion of the capacitor to the volume pot as well. And that's it. We've completed our wiring scheme representing a 1953 Telecaster. Now, what did we actually do? Well, it kind of depends on where you have the three-way selector switch. If you have it moved all the way to the back, selecting the bridge pickup, you're going to have the traditional volume, tone, and bridge pickup combination. When you move the selector to the middle position, you have to think differently. On a modern Telecaster, you have the neck and bridge together. Well, in this case, we're only going to have the neck pickup, and we'll still have the volume and tone control just using the one capacitor. When we move to the neck-only position on the selector switch, this is where we engage the second capacitor, and we give it a complete roll-off of almost all treble coming out of that pickup. Some people have called it a woof type of a sound. It really is rolling off all of the treble, or a great percentage of that treble, and just making that pickup very warm and dark. So there you go. This is a kind of an interesting scheme, and it was used from around 1953 to about 1966, I believe, and then they moved to the more traditional, where you have the neck pickup on the one position, neck and bridge, and then finally the bridge. But again, if you're trying to go back and get some authenticity with some old broadcasters or early Telecasters that you might be building, this is one way to wire it up, so you kind of give it, again, that authentic flavor and tone. And, you know, it's a fairly simple thing to put into place. If you don't like it, you can always pull it back out and try something different. Well, there we go. I appreciate you watching. I hope the videos help. If you do have questions or comments, please let me know. You can email me at braziertoneworks@gmail.com. And remember, tone, it's not just a knob, it's sound advice. Thanks.